Me 29F and Brian 32M have been together for 4 years, and he proposed about 6 months ago. I was ecstatic. I thought we had the perfect relationship. We rarely fought. We had great communication, or so I thought, and I honestly believed I knew everything about him. That is, until 3 weeks ago. I need to back up a little first. When Brian and I started dating, he told me he'd had a serious relationship in the past, someone he was with for about 5 years, but they broke up about 2 years before he met me. No big deal, right? Everyone has a past. He mentioned that it ended amicably, and they hadn't stayed in touch, which I didn't question at all. Why would I? I trusted him. Well, 3 weeks ago, my world got flipped upside down. Brian and I were sitting at dinner when he suddenly got this weird look on his face, like he was about to tell me something really important. My stomach dropped because I just knew it wasn't going to be good news. He started with the whole, "we need to talk" thing, and my mind immediately went to him calling off the wedding or something. But it wasn't that. He told me that he's been keeping a secret from me for our entire relationship, and that secret is, he has a child, a 6-year-old daughter named Emma from his previous relationship. At that point, I think I literally dropped my fork. I just stared at him, trying to process what he was saying. A child? A 6-year-old? That means she was born a year before we met. And he never mentioned her? How is that even possible? Brian explained that his ex Lindsay had gotten pregnant right around the time they broke up. Apparently, Lindsay didn't tell him about Emma until the child was 3 years old, and by that time, she'd already moved to another state. She wasn't interested in having him involved at first, but over the last couple of years, they'd started talking again, and Brian had been trying to slowly build a relationship with his daughter. He said he was planning to tell me soon, but he didn't know how. I was absolutely furious. Not only had he lied by omission for years, but he had been talking to his ex, reconnecting with his daughter, and never once thought to clue me in on it. We lived together. We were planning a wedding. And he was just hiding this massive part of his life. I couldn't even think straight. All I could say was, "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" His excuse was that he didn't want to overwhelm me or scare me off. He thought I wouldn't be able to handle it if he told me too early, and then it just got harder and harder to bring it up as time went on. He said he wanted to wait until Emma was really part of his life before introducing her to me. And now that he started seeing her more regularly, he felt it was the right time. But here's where it gets even worse. The next bombshell he dropped was that Lindsay was moving back to our state. Apparently, she lost her job and has been struggling financially, so she's moving in with family. Except they don't have space for her and Emma to stay. Brian told me that Lindsay asked if they could stay with us for a little while, until she gets back on her feet. I honestly thought he was joking. How could he even think that was a good idea? He kept trying to explain that it would only be temporary, and that he wants to be there for his daughter, which I understand. But letting his ex move in with us? That's a whole different story. I was completely blindsided by this conversation, and I told him there was no way I was okay with that. I love Brian, but this is just too much, too fast. We didn't talk much that night after I shut the idea down, and honestly, things have been tense ever since. I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that my fiancé has a daughter I've never met, and now his ex is somehow going to be part of our lives. Every time I try to bring it up, Brian just says that I need to understand that Emma is his responsibility, and he has to help her mother too. Here's the thing. I don't have a problem with Brian wanting to be involved in his daughter's life. In fact, I think it's great that he wants to be there for Emma. But the fact that he kept this from me for so long feels like a massive betrayal. I feel like I don't even know him anymore. And then the whole Lindsay moving in situation? I can't help but feel like it's way too messy, and it's putting me in an impossible position. I tried to talk to my friends about it, but they're pretty split. Half of them say that I'm being unreasonable, and that Brian's just trying to do the right thing for his child. The other half thinks I'm completely justified in not wanting his ex in our home. My best friend Sarah is telling me to rethink the wedding altogether, because if he's capable of keeping something this big from me, who knows what else he's hiding. I haven't made any decisions yet, but the wedding is coming up in 5 months, and I'm starting to panic. I love Brian, but I'm scared this is a preview of what the rest of our life will be like. Constant surprises and unresolved baggage with Lindsay and Emma. I don't know if I can handle that. What's worse is that Brian has been getting more and more upset with me for not immediately agreeing to let Lindsay and Emma stay with us. He says I'm being selfish, and that Emma needs stability right now, which might be true, but I just can't get over the fact that he never told me about her in the first place. I feel like he's prioritizing his ex's comfort over our relationship, and it's really starting to mess with my head. Am I overreacting? Is it unreasonable for me to feel this betrayed, and to not want his ex and daughter to move in with us? Or am I just not cut out for this situation? I love Brian, but I don't know if I can marry someone who kept something this huge from me for so long. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Should I call off the wedding and walk away? Or should I suck it up and try to make it work for Emma's sake?